Hey friends, this is a heads up that my audio in this episode is a little bit rough. I reorganized my recording setup. Yay! But then I didn't reconnect my microphone to my computer in the right way. Boo. But still give it a try because the conversation is fun and you might learn some things about me. Oh, and happy April Fools.
Hello and welcome to Pale Blue Pod, which is this week the astrology podcast for people who are overwhelmed by the universe but still want to be its friend. I'm your host. I'm Dr. Moiya McTier. I'm an astrophysicist and a folklorist and a good friend to the universe. I think about the universe all the time. And I am joined today by, I think, also a friend to the universe and a friend coming from a different angle. I'm joined this week by Charmeé Taylor, an astrology enthusiast and podcaster, and I'm so happy to have you here, Charmeé.
Thank you so much for having me. I love it. I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
I'm so excited to learn about astrology today. So, listeners, today Charmeé and I are going to be going through my is it correct to say like horoscope birth chart or astrology birth chart?
Birth chart is good. Yeah.
Birth chart.
Yeah.
I know like the big three, but I don't know any of the rest, and I don't know what any of the rest means. So Charmy's going to help me maybe learn a little bit about myself today. And before we get to that, I want to learn more about you. I have a set of questions that I ask guests coming through Pale Blue Pod, and there are no wrong answers, and I'm just excited to see what you have to say.
Yay.
Yay. All right. The first question is, when you think about space, how do you feel?
Ooh, I feel expansive. I feel like anything is possible. I feel limitless. And I know a lot of people sometimes feel small, but it actually makes me feel bigger. It makes me feel grander, and like wide open space is is as big as what like I can achieve. And yeah, I feel big. I feel powerful.
A lot of people relate to the universe and they see how big it is compared to us, and it makes them feel small. But I feel very connected,
Yep.
and that network expands me in a way. I love that you use the word expansive.
Absolutely. I feel it. I feel it so heavily. I'm like, I know people are like, "Oh my gosh, there's aliens and we're just a galaxy and we're just a rock spinning." But I'm like, "We're the rock spinning and we're here and we're why are we here? But who cares why? Because we have to live in the moment." Like it makes me feel so big. And I really love it. I really do.
Fantastic. Is that something that you cultivate? Are you trying to have that relationship to the universe, or did it just happen?
I think I grew up very religious, so organized religion made me feel very small many times, and I knew that that was like my space. But then I think I did cultivate my relationship with the universe and just kind of being like, okay, like I am expansive. I'm way outside of this box for X, Y, and Z, all these reasons, black, queer, femme, like all of these things. And so I had to cultivate my relationship with the universe and being like, wow, the stars tell me a lot about myself. And the snapshot of the sky was in this certain position when I was born. How beautiful is that? How great is that? Whereas like growing up, I was like told like, don't look at the stars. You're not allowed
Mhm.
to look at the stars. Look at God. Look at Jesus. Look at white Jesus. Um,
Were your parents like Scarlett O'Hara? Like, is
yes.
that how they
How did you
sounded?
know? Yeah, no, they have a transatlantic accent and everything. It was wild when they talked about religion. No, but it was very much like, very stringent rules. Rules were
Mhm.
very, very important. And I'm sure we'll get into that when we talk about Saturn and things like that. But rules were really, really important. And I had to definitely cultivate my relationship with the universe and be like, oh, it is limitless and I make the rules.
Mhm. Yeah, we do. Yes. Oh, I love the way you see the space. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question takes it a little bit closer to home. What's your favorite unit of measurement?
Ooh, unit of measurement, bad
Yeah, a little
bitchery.
random.
Um, let's see, unit of measurement. I often say I'm such a like metaphysical, like I don't know. I just feel like I'm a spiritual body, but I feel like I like the idea of like oceans, like oh we're
Mm.
oceans apart, or we're like oceans of love. I'm sending you oceans of love. So if there
Ooh.
was a unit of measurement of the ocean, and whatever that looks like. I'm not sure scientifically what that sounds like, but in my mind, I'm like, in oceans. I like things
Hmm.
real big in oceans.
That's fantastic. And I love it because it can be distance. You're an ocean away. It can be volume. I my love for you can fill an ocean. It can be sound. It can be depth. Like that's really nice. That's a good broad reaching unit.
Yeah, definitely. I
Mhm.
mean, it's not like, I don't know, cups, but oceans feel like a little razzle dazzle in there.
Yeah, it's better than cups.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Oh, what do you think is the best planet in the solar system?
The first thing that popped in my head was Mars. I was like, ah, Mars. And
Ooh.
it's because I'm ruled by Mars because I'm a Scorpio. So I'm like, I love the fight. I love getting really like riled up and ready to go, and like what that
Mhm.
planet means, and like blood hot passion. Like I think that's really, really cool and sexy and fun. And I I just think that's really cool, and I like
Yeah.
it.
To say that you are ruled by Mars, I'm going to get into the astrology questions already.
Yeah.
Is that because all Scorpios are associated with Mars, or because of where Mars was when you were born?
So, all Scorpios are, so every single zodiac sign is ruled by a certain planet, right? And
Oh, okay.
so, yeah, so, when we talk about like, earth signs or water signs or fire signs, like there's a planet that rules them. So for Scorpio, it's Mars. Scorpio and Aries, actually, it's Mars. So that's kind of the planet of like fighting. It's the planet of
Hmm.
conflict. It's that like red hot fiery passion. And so that's what that means. And we'll, I'm sure, get into your chart and how earth heavy it is, and how you're all about the earth, and Capricorn, and yeah, it's just like they're all ruled by something different.
Okay, interesting. I never knew that there were planets associated with specific signs. I kind of want to dig into that and wonder why. Like, I understand that Mars's reputation is coming from its association with war gods
Yep,
and the fact that it visually looks red to our eyes when we see it. And
exactly.
so I get that connection. I'm going to dig deeper to figure out how it relates to the specific signs later.
Okay, I
Thank
love
you.
that.
Okay, so Mars, the best planet.
Yeah.
Imagine you're going on a mission to Mars. We're actually putting you in a rocket and we're launching you off of Earth, but you get to choose the playlist during blast off. What song are you playing when you leave the atmosphere?
Ooh, that's great. I don't know why, but the first thing that I thought of was David Bowie. Even though I don't really listen to his music very often, I just know that
Hmm.
David Bowie's by, and his music feels really like space oriented for some
It
reason.
is.
Um, so
Yeah,
that's
he
what
was
I was.
Ziggy Stardust.
Yes, exactly. So that's kind of what I was thinking of. I like once saw a documentary. I hadn't really been super familiar with him, and then I saw a documentary about him and his life, and I was like, whoa, 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 wow. And it didn't even get into the music, honestly, and
Oh, wow.
that's what was really deeply fascinating. Um, but yeah, I think it would be something like that, or like taking it a little bit more modern, probably like Megan the Stallion, and just being like,
Mm-hmm.
yep, we're a baddie going into the universe. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Or kind of a mix of the two, something of like two bicons together. I don't know, something like that.
Okay, I love it. A little Bicon mashup.
Exactly, exactly.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, final question before we get into the astrology of it all. What to you is scarier than a black hole?
Ooh, not achieving my dreams, not doing what I set out to do. I feel like
Real.
that's really scary. And so I don't know what happened after 2020. I mean, so many things happened. But after 2020, I felt like time's ticking. Like I
Mm.
suddenly like would go home and it was fine. And, it's like, hey, how are you? Happy Christmas, da da da. And now it's like, when are you having kids? When are you getting married? So I felt like time is like rushed
Mhm.
and stopped at the same time. It's really weird. Time is a construct. I don't know. It was a
It
bizarre
truly
time.
is.
It really is.
And our perception of it is relative. And the
Exactly.
way that it passes is also relative. So like, yeah, it's a construct.
And it's like, it it it's in favor of people who are the oppressor. There's a lot to time. Time means a lot of things, and I feel like a lot happened in 2020, but I feel like what's scarier than a black hole is certainly like not achieving what I want in time. Like I feel like
Mhm.
TikTok, like I feel that more. And I know a lot of people say like when they turn 30, their like ovaries are like go, go, go. And it's like, I don't know if I have like dreamy fantasy, like want to achieve my goals, like version of that. But that's
Mhm.
how I feel.
Yeah, not
Mhm.
a biological clock, but a some sort of productivity clock
Yes,
ticking.
exactly. Which is, I think, certainly an offshoot of capitalism and
Oh yeah.
like go, 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 go. You've got to go. You've got to work. You got to go. But yeah, for me, it's that idea of not being able to achieve what I want to achieve.
Mhm. Is that you said earlier you're Scorpio?
Yes.
Is that very in line with Scorpios?
No, so actually it's more probably in line with my Virgo Venus. And
Mhm.
like the things you love is Venus and the things you hold dear to yourself. And Virgo is like the fighter, it's goal oriented. You have a lot of that in your chart. Goal oriented, like very much like go, 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 get those things done. Um, and yeah, that I think it's the Virgo Venus version of what's going on. Yeah, in my
Okay,
chart. Mhm.
cool. How many slots are there in the chart? It's more than just the big 3.
Yeah. So there's 12. So yeah, so
Okay.
it's like your chart is a pie chart. And not your chart, everybody's chart is a pie chart. And it's like 12 slices for the 12 planets. And yeah, so it's kind
12 planets?
of certain things have two. So for example, like Aries and Scorpio are both ruled by Mars. So some of them
Mhm.
are like paired up. Um,
Oh,
yeah, but there's 12 slices of the chart. Correct.
okay.
Hmm.
So there are like 12 different positions that you get slotted into.
Yes, and those would be the houses.
The 12 houses?
Yes. So that pie chart, every
Okay.
piece of the pie is a house. So it's
Okay.
like your first house, your second, all the way up into your 12th house. And then in those houses are the planets.
Understood. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm getting it. So like for me like a sun sign is one of the houses.
Your your sun sign is your sun and it's in one of the houses, correct? Yes.
In one of the houses. And is the moon sign in a different house?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you have a little neighborhood here.
Yes, you do have a neighborhood and the houses give the planets a different flavor. So like based on
Yes.
where it is in the house, it's like, oh, okay, I have, for example, I have my Leo moon. So Leo moon, this big, boisterous, like big, charismatic energy personality, but it's in the third house. And so that brings a little bit more depth to what that moon is. And so for me, it
Mhm.
shows up as like my third house is ruled, or excuse me, my third house, some of the things about that is like your siblings. And so for me, siblings are really, really, really important and significant in my life.
Mhm.
And your moon is your emotional world. So it kind of flavors what's going on.
Okay.
Mhm.
And the moon does not always go into the third house.
No, no, no,
The
no. It just depends on what's happening in the sky at the time that you're born.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm gonna the way I'm thinking of it now, based on your description, is like okay, we have a little cul-de-sac,
Yeah.
right? We have this little round copse of houses,
Okay.
and there are neighbors who live in this cul-de-sac, but they aren't they don't live in the houses. They live in the cul-de-sac, so they can sleep in any of the houses they want.
Yes.
and we have a sun neighbor and we have a moon neighbor, and all of the other planets are neighbors, and they can choose which house they sleep in based on what was in the sky when I was born.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
We're getting somewhere.
Yes. Love that. Love that.
Cool. Okay, then let's go into my chart. Can
Okay.
I tell you what I know?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, and feel free to correct me when I am wrong. I'm sure it's going to be a when and not an if. But basically all I know is the big three. And I only know it because it spells out cat. I know that I'm a Capricorn sun and an Aries moon and a Taurus rising.
Yes.
And what I know about the differences between those is that, like, my sun sign is kind of like the executive role. It's like how the energy or the method that I use to manage my life.
Yeah.
And my moon sign is like how other people perceive me.
That would be your rising.
That's my rising. Oh, okay, then what's the moon?
So your moon is like your emotional world, like how you process emotions, how you feel about the world, and how you process the world emotionally.
Okay. So that's the moon, and then perception is rising.
Yes.
Got it. That does make a lot of sense for me. I've always said that I am unfortunately very well described as a Capricorn, which I've heard is a very Capricorn thing to say. Because my work will always be fine. Any sort of scholarship or career-oriented thing is going to be fine, and I've been told that's the Capricorn in me. The like emotional side that I have, where I'm pretty fiery and I need to get my energy out through exercise or some sort of like big physical action, I've heard that's the Aries moon.
Yes.
And then I guess if Taurus is how people perceive me, what's there? Tell me about that.
Well, Taurus is ruled by Venus, so it's a very your rising sign is also how you look as well. So, I mean, anybody that's a Libra rising or a Taurus rising is very beautiful. A really good example of anybody that's a Venusian rising is a really good example of that is Beyonce. Beyonce is a Libra rising. So ruled by Venus, ruled by beauty. Material goods are really important to you. And like we can say in like a non-capitalistic way, because I think sometimes when people are like, materials, I need the wealth. It's like, no, you're not a billionaire. You just like to be surrounded by pretty things. And what does that mean to you? It could look like many different ways. Like you like in your house to have beautiful flowers. You like to have colors. I see behind you, you have these beautiful like butterflies. You like to be surrounded by beautiful things, beautiful people. That to you helps you and fuels you. So that's what I would say about your Taurus rising for sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And I do love and need my creature comforts, right? Like I need to be around my plants and my cat and have my things where I put them, you know?
Absolutely. That's deeply, deeply important to Taurus placements in general. They just love comfort. And I'm so envious of that because I'm like, I wish I could make myself more comfortable and like be like, oh yeah, right. I can put flowers in my room. Oh yeah, right. I can do these things that make things more comfortable. It's not about working harder. It's about working smarter, and like feeling a little bit more comfortable in those spaces is like, it's important. It's a really beautiful thing to have.
Yeah, I've been told I'm really good at cultivating a cozy vibe. So if you need any help, I could come across to the West Coast.
Exactly, absolutely. I love that. Cozy vibes. Yep, Taurus placements, cozy vibes all the way.
Excellent.
Hey there, friends. I hope you're enjoying this unusual episode topic. I thought it'd be a cool way for you to get to know me a little bit better, and the first week of April seemed like the perfect time to take the pod on a respectful and curiosity-driven astrology side quest. But before we get back to that, I want to recommend a podcast for you. It's another show in the Multitude Network, and it's called Attach Your Resume. This is a new show from Multitude that interviews online creators about how their jobs work and how they got there. You can hear the personal stories behind seismic events in digital media and learn what concrete steps we can take to build a sustainable media landscape, which has been Multitude's ethos from the beginning. Hosted by longtime podcasters and business owners Eric and Amanda, Attach Your Resume proves that the best credentials for deciding the future of media is actually making stuff. Who'da thunk? Season 1 is available to marathon now as they are working on Season 2, so subscribe to Attach Your Resume in your favorite podcast app now. That way you'll be ready and caught up when they drop Season 2. That's Attach Your Resume, that's RESUME, in your favorite podcast app. Before I get back to the show, I want to say thank you to all my patrons who support the show financially. I couldn't make this show without you, so thank you for helping Pale Blue Pod be a part of the universe. And I want to give a special huge thank you to my Sun-like stars, Scott Reynolds, Augustin, Tom T., Mark Mahoney, and Nicole Bartlett. I hope you are having fun fusing hydrogen in your cores. I hope it feels like the most delightful tingling sensation in your tummies. If you want to support this independent podcast on Patreon, then you would get to hear your name on the show, you would make it onto my patron star chart, and get research notes for most episodes for $5 a month. Brighter tiers, like my Sun-like stars, pay a little bit extra and get access to Pale Blue Pod at night, where I read bedtime stories in what I hope is a slow, soothing voice. You can sign up now at patreon.com/palebluepod and check out the annual memberships because they'll give you a 13% discount across the entire year. So I get a full year of support and you pay a little bit less. So it's a win-win. All right, let's get back to this conversation about my birth chart. We're entering into uncharted territory for me now.
So those are my big three, and that's all I know. I don't even know like what house they're in now that I know there are houses.
Yes.
So what can you tell me about this?
Okay, so I think we are going to streamline it in a way that feels very like digestible. And so sometimes when you put in too much stuff, it's like, okay, what the heck are you trying to say? I've had people like read my chart and I've been like, my trine squared to 2 plus what? Like, tell me what it means. So we're gonna make it really streamlined, especially because you're a Capricorn. And I feel like giving the information in a digestible way is important to you. You value that. Like, give me the bullet points. So I have a bunch of bullet points.
Yes, girl.
Yep, have it together. I'm telling you, this Virgo Venus gets everything in check. So overall, you remind me of lava. Like I was like thinking of like what in your chart, like what about like how do I feel about your chart? And I was like, lava. Lava is brooding, it's yearning, it's consistent. Like it comes from this volcano. It's fiery, it's slow, like melasmic pace. Like it has this sort of like you see it coming, but you don't know how big it's going to be once it's there. And it is fire. Like people are like, oh yeah, it's coming whenever, it's chill. It's like, get ready for the fire. You don't see it, but it's there. And so that's what I feel like when I look at your chart. So we talked a little bit about you having a Capricorn sun, but not only do you have a Capricorn sun, but you have a Capricorn stellium, which means you have 3 planets or 3 of the same planet together. So you have a lot of Capricorn essentially in your chart. A lot of Capricorn.
So like 3 of the 12 are Capricorn.
Exactly. You got a lot of Capricorn. Yeah. Yeah. So if you see like, sometimes people are like, I'm a Capricorn, but I don't feel like one, or I'm a Scorpio and I don't feel like one. It's like, no, you feel like a Capricorn. You perceive that of yourself when other people are like, oh my God, you're such a Capricorn. You're like, I know I am, like it's just my thing. But things that I think about when I think about Capricorn are they are very consistent, hardworking self-starters. To me, they remind me of those kids that like wanted to learn on their own and do their own thing, because they are smarter than everybody in the room. They're really, really, really smart. But there's not like that sense of like ego, whereas other signs might have that. You're like, no, I'm the smartest and I don't have to like show anybody that, which I love. You have a Taurus rising. So we talked about like material goods are important to you, but like in an anti-capitalist way, like you like pretty things being around you and there's nothing wrong with that. And then you have an Aries moon. We talked about that. I kind of the combination of your big three to me give you probably think about money more than most people do. Like material wealth is very important to you. Again, we don't have to talk about the capital. We didn't choose capitalism. It chose
we didn't make this
we didn't do this. But money is really important to you. Consistency and like money flow, you think about probably more than a lot of people because again, your Taurus rising mixed with your Capricorn sun, it's like, but how am I getting paid? Right. That's cool and that's cute, but how am I going to get paid? That's really, really important to you. However, you have a Sagittarius Venus. So when it comes to love, it's expansive. When it comes to love, it's very open. It can look like many different things. It doesn't, the like stereotypical version of love might not necessarily fit to what your ideas of love, because you're like, it's limitless. Like it doesn't need to be one thing. And I love that. A Sagittarius Venus is like so expansive and like wide open spaces. Like I honestly think of Sag Venus, I think of like a wild horse running in a field. Like that's the vibe you're when you love someone or something is really, you hold it close to your heart. It's like expansive at that point, which I love.
I do have a lot of love to give for sure. And you said my Venus is in Sagittarius. So that's like when I was born, the planet Venus was in the constellation Sagittarius.
Correct. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. That's exactly it. You also have a Virgo Mars, which means you are very productive. You're very goal oriented. Goals are very important to you. And you might think, oh, they're important to me because I'm a Capricorn, Like Capricorn is what's going to get it done. The Virgo Mars is what's like, we've got to make a plan for this to happen. Like we need these goals down packed. Like we need the goals. Yeah.
So it's like the Virgo Mars is the ideation and then the Capricorn sun is the execution.
Exactly. Exactly that. That was so eloquent. And speaking of eloquence, you have your Mercury is in Aquarius. So I'm like, I want to read what this is saying about you, but you love to stir the pot. You love to stir the pot in the way that you put your words. You delight in exposing what others deem as like biases. So you like to expose biases in other people. You are, I mean, you know this. I mean, I've just met you like a couple minutes ago, but you know that you're the smartest in the room. But I think also it's like you have this like thing like, if something is off, you're like, okay, let's talk about why this is off. And you're not afraid to stir the pot to do that. A lot of people will be fearful to be like, well, I have a question, but I don't want to ask. Like, you're like, no, we're going to ask and we're going to clarify and I'm going to get this right, And so, Mercury pertains to like the way that you speak and communicate to other people. And that's very much real in your chart. Does that resonate at all?
Yeah, that's interesting because I think of myself as I really hate confrontation, but I have an extreme sense of justice. Yeah. And if I get to a certain point where I feel like something is wrong and nothing's being done about it, and I'm the only person in the room who's going to be able to do something about it, that is when I will speak up.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's important, and we need more like justice warriors in the world that have these placements, because it really definitely puts things into perspective, and calling out things that aren't right, especially in the time that we're living in, is just so valuable. Like just so valuable. So yeah, never doubt that part of your chart.
I feel like I've tried to suppress that a little bit because I used to be much more loose at the mouth with those comments on how other people aren't doing things right. And I learned,
Yeah.
I was a little kid and I was told over and over again, don't do that. Don't talk to authority that way. And so I kind of internalized those messages, but it can't help but come out sometimes. And I feel like in a way I'm like unmasking from all of those lessons that I was forced to learn.
It's so interesting to think about, like, how people will try to put you in boxes to keep you to be
Mm-hmm.
quiet and keep you in check. Those are the things that have brought me the most amount of joy, is to be like, hey, this isn't right. Having like truth and justice is really important. I would get in trouble all the time as a kid, being like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Like, shh. We don't talk about why it
Right.
doesn't make any sense. We talk about why we do the things and we do the rules in the way that they're supposed to be done.
There's that rigid structure that you had.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Absolutely, absolutely. In a kind of unstructured way, transitioning into your Pisces is in Saturn, or Saturn is in Pisces. So
Mhm.
Saturn is like a teacher. Saturn is very much like the rules, the discipline, what's um important about teaching you a lesson almost.
Hmm.
And Pisces is like very expansive. So this kind of like placement is, you don't like to make the same mistakes over and over again. You just like focus, responsibility. So basically, um Saturn in Pisces, they're okay with learning these harder lessons. I also want to mention that Saturn moves into Pisces on March 29th, which is tomorrow. So we collectively are learning how to set boundaries. We're collectively learning how to say no as a full sentence.
Mhm.
And also sort of like this embracing of like grief and loss, and like really embracing what that looks like. And I think a lot of times people are scared to embrace grief and scared to embrace loss, and fearful of what that would look like. And I think
Yeah.
that this particular placement reminds us that it's okay to be sorrowful, it's okay to grieve, time keeps going, and we're okay to like to ride the waves of grief. Um, and again, in this sort of like, I don't know, anti-capitalist kick that I'm on, apparently, um,
Go for it.
it's kind of like grieve and get on. You've got 2 months. It's like that scene in Princess Diaries where her best friend is like, "Didn't your dad die like 2 months ago? Aren't you over that by now?" And it's like, "Oh,
Mhm.
what?" And like at the time when I was a kid, I was like, yeah, like 2 months is like, I feel like that's the cap of grief. But the truth is like, no. Like grief comes in waves, and it's okay to ride the wave of grief. So yeah.
Mhm, mhm. So you said Saturn is all about like lessons
Yeah.
and things to learn. Is that related to Saturn's return? I know the mechanics of Saturn's return is that it takes approximately like 27 to 29 years for Saturn to get back to the same point. But I've heard people say that that's when you're supposed to like learn this big lesson. Is that because Saturn has this teacher quality?
Exactly. Because at the end of the
Okay.
day, just like a caring dad that's trying to get you to learn a lesson, it's like Saturn's almost like, I'm going to take everything from you, everything that makes you comfortable, everything that you've known up until now. I'm going to take all those things away from you, but it's to teach you a lesson that you can build it back so much better, so much
Mm.
stronger, so much faster. You are completely adequate, and these comfortable things around you didn't make you adequate. You made you adequate. And I think that's a really powerful, very frustrating lesson to learn. Have you gone through your
Yes.
Saturn return yet?
Oh, I did. My now ex, obviously fiance, left me 2 weeks before we were supposed to get married, and my whole life shifted. So it was an intense Saturn's return for sure.
Good lord, that's so Saturn return. I had it. It happened to me where I was like, I right before my Saturn return, like that sort of shadowy period leading into it, I was like, I think I'm a little gay. And then it was like, okay, the world shut down. Good night. It's March 2020. What you gonna do
Mhm.
about it? Good night. Like it was just like, what's going on? And then I had to move back home. It was all of these things, and it teaches you a lesson, but then you learned, like, you know, I'm sure so many things from that relationship, and then bring it into other relationships. And then also, like, I don't know, Saturn has a very mean way of teaching us things. Very mean, very, it feels cruel almost. But then you're like, I kind of needed that because I didn't want to go through this 5 years from now, like in this sort of
Mhm.
place. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a good reminder that you don't always get the lesson you want, but the lesson that you need when you need it. And I don't know if you know why this is the case. Can I tell you?
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, so the reason Saturn specifically has this association with being a teacher and giving you lessons is because Saturn is the most distant planet we can see with our eyes without a telescope. And so it takes the longest of any of the other planets to go around the sun, so it moves very slowly. And the ancient Mesopotamians associated Saturn with like an old wise god figure. And then that got
Wow.
carried through Egypt and Greece to our modern astrology.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I love, like, learning the context behind why things are the way that they are, because you're like, "Oh yeah," you just like accept them for, "Oh yeah, Saturn's just like Daddy Saturn. He's kind of mean, kind of grumpy, whatever." But it's like, no,
Hmm.
he's this wise teacher because of these people and what they learned about the stars. That's so cool. See, it makes me feel so like connected to the ancestors. That's so cool.
Absolutely.
That's
Hmm.
so
That's why I like studying this stuff.
I know, I love that. I absolutely adore that. Um, so another part of your chart that I find like so fun is you have Jupiter is in Sag for you. So you're very lucky in learning. Like, learning is very important to you. You're a very optimistic person,
Mm.
and you find adventure. Adventure brings you luck, which is really cool. And the freedom to be able to explore and learn and be curious and ask questions is like, it brings you luck. Like, you say, oh, I'm gonna like travel to whatever. I'm gonna travel to, I don't know, Ghana. And you're like, okay, you got all these cool experiences from going to Ghana. And it's because you like attract this sort of like lucky nature to you, which is just, that's just so cool.
Ooh, I love that. Is there a flip side to that? Like, if I don't know what the opposite of Sagittarius is, like 6 months later, but if Jupiter was in that, would that mean I'm unlucky in learning?
No. Sorry, that was so funny. I don't know why. I was like, if it's good, it must be bad on the other side, which is like so Capricorn to say. It's just like, no,
Got to be balanced.
yes, it just means that if it, like, let's say for instance, it's in another house, or it's in a different sign, it just means something different. Again, that just, it flavors it with something a little slightly different. That's all that
Hmm.
means. Yeah.
Hmm. Cool,
Yeah.
thanks.
So for anybody out there that's like, oh my God, like I have like a Cancer Saturn, thing going on. It's okay. Everything's good.
Hmm.
It doesn't mean bad things are going to happen to you. It just means that it looks different for everybody.
Cool,
Hmm.
cool. I have had very nice traveling experiences. I feel like I get a lot each time I go and I experience a new culture, especially as someone who enjoys learning about culture so much. I feel like I can internalize it, and it really enriches not just my life in that moment, but later on, because I can apply it to my work.
That's beautiful. I hope that for everyone, like, to be able to like travel and get these experiences. That's just, it's so important to understand that,
Mhm.
like, the bubble that we live in, the world that we live in is so tiny, but the world is so big and there's so many other experiences to have. Um,
Mhm.
yeah. The first time I like traveled internationally, I was like, people don't do the things that I do all the time, every day. They have completely different traditions based in completely different values and norms and morals. And it just like blew my mind. And that was in London. So, like, I
Mm,
could only imagine, like, other places. So
yeah,
yeah. Hmm.
absolutely. So cool to see.
It
If
is.
I recommend, I know not everyone has the opportunity, but if you can, it's great.
It really is, especially for somebody like me that grew up in like a really small town. And I was like, oh, this is just the way things are everywhere. Like, everybody, like, the United States is just made up of like a bunch of small towns. And it's like, get out, get out, get out while you can. Like there's other
Mhm.
things out there that are not towns. There's just other things out there that are important to see, especially
Yeah,
now. Yeah. Yeah.
facts.
And then the last like little bullet point that I have is that Uranus and Capricorn. So again, you've got a lot of Capricorn going on. But you're obviously very, very hardworking. We talked about that. But Uranus is really about like old traditions and kind of like burning it down and building it back better. So Aquarius is ruled by
Oh.
Uranus. And so it's kind of like Angela Davis was an Aquarius. Audre Lorde was an Aquarius. So these people that have these like thinking that's like very outside of what most people would think. Like their brains are just so massive, and they're like, yeah, like why do we have to do it this way? In fact, let's just burn the whole thing down, build it back, see what happens. A lot of people are not comfortable with that.
Mhm.
But your particular placement, Uranus in Capricorn, you're hardworking, but you want to update old traditions. So that's kind of how that manifests for you.
Mhm.
So, yeah, things that might look a certain way and traditionally done one way, you're like, well, why can't it be done a completely different way? Why can't we just experiment with it? That's really important.
Mhm. That's 100% me.
Me too.
I hate anytime someone says we have to do this because this is how it's always been done. Like that is never a way to persuade me to do anything. I take great personal pleasure in purging things and ideas from my life, and then like starting from the beginning with what I now know because I have more information is a better system.
Yep.
Yeah, that fits me to a T.
I love that. And again, I think in the world that we live in, it's so important that we re-look at why we're doing things the way that we're doing things. I think it benefits all of us. And, I queerness is just seeps into so many parts of my life and is so important to me. And a part of like queerness is queering systems. Like why do we do it this way? Why do we say that love has to look like this? Why do we, you know, have a president? Like
Mm.
these things are like really important to reevaluate and really look at, and not just going with it just to be going with it.
Yeah.
It's going to serve us the best in the next 4
Mhm.
years. Yeah.
Yeah, we need more people thinking about how to get out of the rut.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely
Mhm.
that. Absolutely that.
Mhm.
But I think that is a really good sort of like summation of what I got from your chart. I did
Nice.
quite a bit of research, but I also wanted to make it like fun and interesting and not just be like, well, your chart is this way and da da da. I wanted it to be fun and relatable. So that's kind of what I got.
This was fun. This was very relatable. I tried to clap in a circle for you and I hit my mic.
You did like a half
Thank
moon.
you so much.
Thank
Clap
you.
and a half
Yeah,
moon.
half moon. Yeah.
Awesome. Um, so you've been like talking to me for about 40 minutes now. Do you feel, I know I've said what of the chart resonates with me, but based on impressions, were you surprised by anything given what you saw in my chart?
I was not. Obviously, we've only known each other for 40 minutes.
Right.
But I think when you've only known somebody for 40 minutes, that rising is really what comes into place. And what I've got from this conversation is it is a sort of like you're processing the information, you're really like sitting with it, you're asking questions, but really like kind of like this deep brooding thing that I was talking about at the beginning. Um
The
and
lava oozes
the
towards
the
knowledge.
lava, exactly, is the definitely the vibe that I've gotten so far.
Awesome. Okay.
Mhm.
I know that people have had such terrible experiences with science teachers and like other sort of knowledge sages,
Yep.
right? That I really see it as my responsibility and my like honor to be a more gentle, welcoming presence, and a more kind introduction to science than people normally get. So that is the vibe that I am trying to give other people. I'm glad that
And you
it gets picked
definitely
up.
do it. You definitely do it. I love I love how you were like processing things, but then like putting it kind of in an equation, but then also like, okay, like let's break this down. That's important.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm. Nice. Um, do you ever read your own chart or do your own like horoscope or something? And how does that feel for you?
Yeah, I definitely read my own chart all the time because uh, just like the universe, astrology is just so expansive and there's just so much to learn all the time. And I love understanding more about my chart. Like I get that I have like a big 6 and my Mercury, my Venus and my Mars and all these things. I get that, but like also how the houses flavor that and how what's happening in the world flavors that and what's going on in the sky right now and what that looks like. So I love it. I think it's great. I think it's really great. It helps me to understand so that when I come across somebody that has like a different chart or maybe even a similar chart, I'm like, oh, you have this placement. So you actually
Mhm.
value similar things that I value. And I love that.
Nice. Have you ever come across something in your chart that feels like it didn't mesh with you as a person?
I think I have, and then I've grown into it. So like I've
Ooh.
been like, this does not make any sense. And I'm like, move on. And then it's been like, oh, I had to wait until after 30 to feel this feeling. Okay, cool. That's kind of the vibe. I had somebody tell me once, like, oh, which the way they said it was kind of messed up, but they were basically like, you're not going to find love until late. Like, you're not going to find love until later. Like,
Mm,
your placement, which at that point, I was a fresh baby gay who was just like very much like, I'll never find love. And so for them to say that was like gut wrenching. I was like, what
mm,
is that? What does that mean? And then now that I have found love in so many different ways in my life, I'm
mm,
like, oh, okay. So the way they said it was really, really messed up. And I would never say that to anybody about their chart ever. But the truth in the very mean way of saying it, the truth in that is that finding love later in life, you have kind of like a fullness to love. It's not like a baby, that sort of like puppy dog, baby love, like that kind of thing that happens where you're kind of like ignorance is bliss. You're kind of going along with it. It's like, no, you're making the rules. You're making this sort of like life for yourself, and um it's more fruitful, it's bigger, it means more. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I wouldn't have said it like that, but it the truth in it was important, but I didn't know it at
mhm.
the time.
Right, and it just takes time for you to grow into that lesson.
Exactly that. Yeah.
Nice.
Mhm.
I think that's a good lesson for other people to have too, that we're not going to learn everything at once. You know, we have to wait to get the experience or the right context around us to learn some things in our own time.
Exactly. And why would we want to learn everything at once? Like there were so many
Well,
lessons
I
that
do.
yeah, it's like
I
sometimes
do as
yeah,
a Capricorn.
yes. I'm sure you want to like get it off of your Capricorn list. Like, okay, check, this is done. I've learned the lesson. Next lesson. But also it's like it's so great to not learn it. I mean, at the time you wanna absorb all the information, but it's great to not learn it because sometimes it, like you said, that maturity, it's like that aging like fine wine, like that kind of thing doesn't come until later. And I don't know, we live in a very ageist world that like tells particularly like women and femmes like aging is disgusting. It's dirty and don't talk about it.
Hmm.
And it's really great to get older and realize that like some of these lessons I won't know until I'm 40. Some of these lessons I won't understand until I'm 50. And 60. But there's a beauty to that. And in a capitalist world that sort of pushes get a product, do a thing, work harder, do this. It's like if I slow down and really enjoy that moment, it's important.
Yeah, that in itself is an act of resistance
Yes.
to slow down, to rest, to reject the urge for urgency, right? Like the universe is not asking us to complete anything on any sort of timetable.
Yeah.
We're doing this to ourselves. And like, yes, sometimes there are actual urgent emergencies.
Right.
I made the choice not to be involved with any of those. That is why I did not become that kind of doctor. Okay. I like the slowness. I like taking the time to learn and learn it right.
Yes, that's exactly it. And so like, so Saturn, like learn it right. Like you learned it, but did you learn it right? And that's important.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love talking to you. This is so fun. You have a great energy. Before we head out, I would love for you to take a second to brag about yourself. Like tell us what you do, what you've got going on, and where people can find you online.
Yeah, so I am a Gemini rising. So for anybody that understands what that means, it's just like my hand is in so many different pots and I'm constantly doing so many different things, which I adore and I love. But it keeps me going, keeps me feeling like rejuvenated. But yeah, so people can find me at by astrology on Instagram and at Charmeé if you dare on TikTok. I am doing so many things. I'm doing a lot of writing. So for anybody that's interested in Bi News, I have a column with bi.org and I do writing every week with them to talk about the pop culture and what's going on there. It's very fun. It's very sassy. We love it. I make lots of videos about relationships and astrology and sexuality and how they all intertwine with each other. And I do a lot of that on TikTok, and now I'm doing it a lot more on Instagram, which I'm loving. I am writing a web series that's based on my book that I wrote called Confessions of a Bisexual. And it's very exciting, and I'm truly in love with these characters, and I don't know what's going on in the universe, but I keep going to bed and dreaming about these characters and then waking up and being like, oh, this is what she has to do next. So
that's the muses coming for you.
Yes, exactly. So if you keep an eye on that and what that will look like, but yeah, doing a lot of writing and seeing where that leads me, which is very exciting.
Yes, it seems like it's leading you into very cool places and directions.
Fun places. Yeah, very fun places for sure.
I love that. Awesome. Okay, well, the links to your socials and some of your projects will be down in the show notes, so listeners, go check those out. Thank you for teaching me about me.
Of course. I mean, really, you know about you. And honestly, I think everybody should know this is important, is that like nobody writes that script for you, right? So if you go to an astrologer, they're reading a chart, but they're interpreting it based on their own sort of worldview. So definitely go to Black queer astrologers, go to people who have a worldview that's very expansive and can tell you things about your chart in a way that feels like it resonates. And if it doesn't, you can move on. If that horoscope doesn't make sense on Allure, you can just swipe up and go to the next thing. It's okay to sort of like take it with a grain of salt. And if it resonates, it does. And if it doesn't, that's okay as well.
Yeah, that's a great lesson to end on.
Yeah.
The theme of today has been lessons learned.
Yes.
So yes, amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Listeners, it doesn't matter how much you know about yourself. You are still space. Bye.
Bye.
Pale Blue Pod is hosted by me, Dr. Moiya McTier, aka the universe's bestie. I created the show with original co-host Corinne Caputo, a comedienne extraordinaire, and help from the Multitude Productions team. Our theme music is by Evan Johnston, and our cover art is by Shay McMullen, and our audio editing is handled by the incomparable Misha Stanton. I am Go Astro Mo everywhere online, and you can stay in touch with the show and the universe by following Pale Blue Pod on Instagram or checking out our website, palebluepod.com. We are a member of Multitude, an independent podcast collective and production studio. So if you like Pale Blue Pod, you will love the other shows that live at multitude.productions. And if you want a shout out on the show and research notes for every episode, you can join our community over at patreon.com/palebluepod for just about $1 per episode. Thank you so much for listening to Pale Blue Pod. I'll be back next week. Bye.